Good morning, everyone. It's Mr. Donnelly, your assistant principal at Sussex Elementary. I am going to show everyone an intermediate level math problem today, which is a two-digit number 24 multiplied by a single-digit number 6. But instead of using the standard algorithm, I am going to use an area model. At the end of this, I will show the correlation between the two, but it is important for our students to be able to complete an area model to multiply. For our parents at home, I know it looks very different, and this makes the explanation of multiplying using area models really complicated for them when they're working with their children. So what I'm going to do today is try and just give a basic example and have it make as much sense as possible. I really do want to stress that it's important for our students to use math vocabulary. I would love to hear them talking about the tens place and the ones place. It helps them not only in their verbal expression, but also their written expression, and then allows them to engage a lot more in conversation around math. So what I'm going to first do is I'm going to identify the number of place values. I've already drawn our rectangle and I've already split it up. The reason I split up our rectangle is that I'm going to break up our 24 and decompose it, we call it, by the place value. So there are two groups of 10. So I'm going to represent that number on top as 20, two groups of 10. Then I'm going to put an addition sign. And when I decompose that 24, I see that there is a 4 in the ones place. So that's going to go right up top there. So now I've decomposed my 24 into 20 plus 4. On the side here, I have my other factor of 6. So I'm going to go ahead and take my 6 and put it right down there. What I'm then going to do is I've now broken my problem into two more manageable pieces. So instead of doing 24 times 6 in the standard algorithm, this shows our students that that 24 is actually a 20 and a 4 here. So when I go to multiply, it's two separate steps. What I'm going to do is take that 20 and bring it down into my box, and then take that 4 and bring it right down there. Now, sometimes our students get a little confused. The 6 has to go into both pieces of the area model, because that 6 is going to multiply times the 20 and the 4. I know it looks a little confusing, but our math problems are much simpler now. We have two smaller pieces, and at the end we're going to put them together, and then we will look at the standard algorithm. So 20 times 6 is actually just a basic math fact, 2 times 6, which results in 12, but I have that 0. And a lot of our students want to say that we're going to take this 0 and we add it on to the end. We don't actually add it on to the end. What we're going to do is we call it annexing. It means it takes a place value spot. So by putting that in the ones place, it shifts the 2 into the tens and the 1 into the hundreds. So 20 times 6 is going to give us 120. I love to circle my product in that box. Just helps me focus when I go to add my two products together. The next piece we have is 4 times 6. So that is a basic math problem again. 4 times 6 is going to be 24. So now in the beginning of this video, we decomposed our 24 into 20 times 4, and I told you that we made it two separate math problems. We did two multiplication steps. Now we need to put those two products together. So I have 120 plus 24. So when I go to add these together, I am going to have 144. Now, that looks great. We do want to check it using the standard algorithm. So on the bottom of the screen, I'm going to use orange, and I'm going to multiply 24 times 6. Now, for our parents at home, we definitely think that this is much quicker to do it this way. That's true for some of our students, but to build that understanding, it is important that we use the area model. So now, when we look at that standard algorithm, the first step we're going to do is 6 times 4, our 1s times our 1s, and that's going to give us 24. So I'm going to put my 4 down, and I'm going to regroup that 20. If I look up here at our area model, there was our 4 times 6, and it resulted in 24. The next step in my standard algorithm is to do 6 times, not a 2, but look at that place value. It's a 2 in the tens place. So it's really 6 times 20. The reason that that's important is because it's going to push our product into the hundreds place. So 6 times 20 is going to be 120 plus 2 groups of 10, because again, we're in the tens place. And that's going to be 14 groups of 10, or 140. So 140 plus the 4 here is 144. So our answers do check out. They are the same. We came about those answers differently. There's nothing wrong with teaching our students the standard algorithm. I know a lot of times parents in meetings are sharing that this is the way that they teach their children. It's the way that they learned it. It's the easiest way for them. That's perfectly acceptable. There's nothing wrong with that. But we do want our students to be able to complete an area model and then to be able to relate it to the standard algorithm to see how it's similar. So there is one more step and one more other way to represent this problem. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to show it using partial products. So it's going to look just like our area model and similar to our standard algorithm, but just slightly different. So I'm going to use red for 24 times 6. And now I'm going to break it down into pieces. So 6 times 4 is the first thing that we're going to do. I think we all agreed on that. I'm going to try and do 6 times 4 here. And that gives us 24. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is, again, it's not 6 times the 2, it's 6 times 20. So 6 times 20, I'm going to try and write it right here. 6 times 20. And this partial product method is really going to relate back to the area model and the standard algorithm, and they're going to give us, hopefully, the same answer. So 6 times 20, we already identified as 120. So I'm going to go ahead and write that 120 under there. Ooh, it's a tough looking 2. So now what I'm going to do is I have my 2 partial products, my part of the products. They actually happen to be the same 2 partial products from my area model, and that's how we want that to work. And I'm going to add them together. So I'll start here, 4, 4, and a 1. And it gives me 144. So we've looked at this math problem in 3 different ways. We looked at an area model, we looked at the standard algorithm, which we are all more comfortable with, and then we looked at the partial products. The partial products looks super similar to the area model. So some of our students might struggle with the partial product method, but if we can represent the area model and show them the partial product and show them the standard algorithm and the similarities between them, that will help our students begin to understand exactly how this math works, how the values of numbers are important, how place value is important, and provides them with the skills to explain their thinking, both in writing and verbally, and really engage in that math instruction. So I know this is a lot. If you have any questions about any of the work you're doing with your children, please feel free to send me a message on Schoology or to email me. Ask a question. I will provide you with the best response I can. If I'm not sure of what the teacher was working on, I'll reach out to the teacher and see if there's some skills and some tips that they used for their instruction when they were working with your students, or feel free to send them a message on Schoology. So I hope everybody has a great day and stays safe, and I hope you enjoyed this little quick video today.